Everybody nice and full?
If there's anything
Hi,
else you need to
everybody. My name is Floodman. I'm the Senior Associate AD here at the University of Kansas. And I had the opportunity to get up here from Wichita originally and love coming back here. But first and foremost, I wanted to say thank you to everybody in this room. We've had a phenomenal year when it comes to some of our fundraising, and we've accomplished 3 capital projects over the last year that a lot of you have been a very important piece of us accomplishing those goals. The Maria S. McCarthy Hall, which is the new dormitory for students, our student athletes, our basketball team specifically. The DeBruce Center, which is going to be complete here soon, and then we have a brand new training facility for our student athletes as well. So those 3 projects have been a lot of work, and I want to thank you, each and every one of you that contributed to those personally, because without that, there's no way those projects happen, and our student athletes now are getting a benefit from them. So thank you very much for your support of those projects. From a Williams Fund perspective, I've had the opportunity over the past 18 months to work on a variety of different things, but I have to say, coming down to Wichita and working with a lot of you in this room to raise the funds for our student athletes is the best thing that we get to do, and it seems like almost everybody in here is a Williams Fund member, so thank you so much for what you continue to do for our student athletes. You know, I say it every year, you don't always get to see it behind the scenes and kind of what goes on, but these student athletes, it's a full-time job, I'm telling you, between juggling classes, between all the film, all the practices. You know, it's amazing what they're able to accomplish, and it's really setting them up for a lifetime of success, and you have yourselves to thank for providing the scholarships for those kids. So give yourself a round of applause for that, please. The first individual I want to introduce, I've had the opportunity to work with for about the last 8 or 9 years now, and I can say that anywhere in Kansas, anywhere in the Midwest, this individual is at all events early. He stays till the very end. He is a tireless worker, returns phone calls faster than you can even imagine, and is a pleasure to work with, the interim president of the Alumni Association, Heath Peterson.
It's hard to follow the Wichita guy. You know, I had a compliment paid to me not long ago, actually the nicest compliment I've had in a while. Someone described me as a shorter, uglier version of Banks Floodman. So, I got that going for me. You know, it's great to be in Wichita. I want to thank all of our members, 42,000 members of the KU Alumni Association. Many of you right here in Wichita. I see others that traveled from Kingman and McPherson, and we appreciate you being here today. This is one of the better attended ground ball events I've seen in Wichita. That's exactly what we need. It's an exciting time to be on the Hill right now. Banks mentioned some of the capital projects. You should be proud as Jayhawks that KU welcomes. It's one of its brightest freshman classes in the history of KU. Second highest average ACT, highest GPA in school history, and 500 more freshmen than our closest competitor in the state. So you should be proud as Jayhawks that we have a bright freshman class. If you haven't heard, we have quite a successful campaign occurring right now, far above the campaign for Kansas. And there's no way that campaign is nearly as successful as it is. $1.45 billion raised to date. Kurt and Sue Watson, thanks for your tireless efforts as chair of the Far Above campaign. Thank you. For those of you that don't know, we have a relatively new assistant director of Wichita programs. She's here with us today, Danielle Hoover. Danielle, thank you for being here. She has been on the job now, about 7 months, and did a great job with the Jayhawk Roundup. And also with me, our Vice President of Donor Relations, Angie Story. Angie, thank you for being here. As we prepare for the upcoming session, which will be a challenge to say the least, if you're not a member of Jayhawk Higher Education, it's one of the single best things you can do as a Jayhawk. Use your voice, someone who's a stakeholder in the university to advocate for higher education at the University of Kansas. Very easy to do. You're right on our website. If you have questions, talk to the three of us, and we'll get you set up. So with that, thanks, and rock chalk.
You know, being in athletics, it's pretty easy sometimes to kind of get tunnel vision and just focus on basketball and football, kind of forget everything else. But we've got an athletic director that's come in with a vision, a work ethic, and really holding yourself accountable to every standard. If you look at our volleyball success, our soccer success, it's because we have a culture that we're going to pick each other up no matter what sport you're in. And that vision is all attributed to our athletic director and our leadership, Dr. Sheahon.
Thanks, Banks. You know, this is always, first of all, I can't believe it's this time of year, and this is my favorite event of the year. We get in here, we think we get here early, and you're already here and it's already full. Your enthusiasm is contagious, and if I can help it, I never want to miss this event. If Banks tells me it's on the calendar, he doesn't blindside me. You know, we've introduced a few people. I want to introduce a few more. And first of all, Megan McMullen, who is our arms and legs and gets down here early, and along with some of the other folks, gets this thing going. Coach Pat Henderson, where are you at? Former player, former coach at Kansas, which makes us awful proud. And I'm building up to the legend, John Hadel, player, coach, extraordinaire. Coach Hadel, thank you for joining us here today. You know, I say this to friends of mine, and I don't say it loud enough to enough people. One of the real joys of my job is getting to hang out with Max Falkenstein and John Heath. It truly is one of the real perks. You know, before the men's game a couple days ago, or last week, Max and I usually get to sit by each other at ball games, and somehow we ended up beside each other before the game and said, Shane, I want to go look at the renovations over in the Hall of Fame. So, well, come on, let's go. We were on this side of Allen Fieldhouse, and we were trying to get to this side. That's the biggest mistake I've made. I didn't realize what a caricature he is. He got stopped 10 to 20 times to get his picture taken, sign autographs. It's almost as bad as being with Coach Self. I've learned it took me a couple of years. I'd be walking down the hall. This is a true story. With Coach Self and some attractive young woman, somebody would walk up with a camera and, hey, you want to take a picture? And I'd kind of stand back taking a picture. Now just don't give me the camera. That's how it works. Banks already touched on this, and I'm not going to talk too long because you come here to hear from our coaches, and so do I. But I want to address a couple of things. When I was hired 5 years ago, the number one priority that was shared with me, and my number one priority is to give all 500 of our student athletes the best opportunity to compete on the field of play, in the classroom, and in their personal life each and every day. And if they're not in a situation where they can compete at the highest level, then we make a change. And you've seen that. Very proud of the coaches we have, very proud of the kids we have, and the way in which they're competing today. On the field, in the classroom, and in their personal lives. It was a tough one for soccer last night, but I got to say this before Brandon gets up here. It was a good one for Kansas women's basketball. And you may say, dang, we're playing Emporia State. Well, here's how tough it was. That's his old team that he won a national championship with a few years ago, with his best friend coaching it that's been running his system for 12 years, with our kids who've been running our system for 1 month. And you know what they found out? That's a pretty good system. Now, thankfully, the good guys won in the end, or Brandon might not be here. Back to that compete thing, right? So, just so we know where the cards are stacked, right? I want to share this with you, too. Along with competing, it was really important 5 years ago to go out and make friends. Well, making friends translates to fundraising, and Banks already touched on that. Well, that fundraising turned into this: a new soccer stadium, a new softball stadium, a state-of-the-art new track stadium, a Bruce Center to house the rules of basketball, and the McCarthy Apartments. Folks, that's $100 million worth of construction in 4 years, and the two last ones, the Bruce Center and the McCarthy Apartments, was throwing a spear in the ground for basketball. There is no place on earth in college basketball like the University of Kansas. The McCarthy Apartments and that Bruce Center are pretty special. I was told on the day I got the job to call David Booth. Y'all know who David Booth is? Bought the rules for $4.3 million. The nicest guy in the world. So I called David, my hands are shaking. I'm sitting in the basement of my house in Illinois at the time. By the way, Illinois doesn't really like building me anymore, but, and he goes, Shane, I spent a lot of money on these, and I'm going to keep them at home until you build someplace worthy of them. Well, $22 million later, we got a place worthy. He's going to finally give them to us. Thank you. Finally, the third thing, and maybe as important as anything to me, was to build a culture in Kansas athletics that you would feel connected to you, that represented you. And folks, that starts with staff, but what's most important to you is our coaches. And I will tell you 5 years in, and this is important, I'm going to tell the story on Coach Self. Each May, I get to go with our senior women administrator, our head men's basketball coach, our head women's basketball coach, and our football coach to the Biltmore in Arizona to have meetings with the Big 12. This year, after we checked in, Debbie had a meeting somewhere, I don't know where she ran off to, turned to me and goes, hey guys, you want to go grab lunch? I had to go to my room, got a call from the chancellor. That always happens when you land somewhere and you want to have fun. Bill sent a text, hey, where are you, where are you? By the time I got down there, these guys were out on the patio having a great time, and I sat down with our head men's coach, head women's coach, and head football coach for 2 hours and had a great time. I've waited 5 years for this kind of culture, folks. It's here, I'm loving it, please enjoy it, and you're going to get a taste of that today. Rock Chalk.
Kind of want to drop the mic and walk off the stage, but that was good. Everybody knows how important a home court advantage is, right? We see it now in Fieldhouse for every single game. Never underestimate how important you are as a fan to all of our student athletes. And so in saying all that, the next coach I'm going to introduce has got a young team, but he has got these girls playing and playing hard. And to get them over the hump and help in any advantage possible, your support and showing up is important. And whether it's, I understand driving up from Wichita it can be difficult and takes time, but coming up to those games, I can assure you, you will not be disappointed. It is a fun atmosphere and a fun place to watch a game, regardless if it's men's or women's basketball. It's important to be there. You know, sometimes you meet people and you get done with the conversation, you walk away and you go, man, that person had it, right? You just feel it, you can't explain it, but that you have a tendency to gravitate towards it. It's just, they have it. Well, listen, Coach Brandon has it. If you haven't got the opportunity to meet him before, I recommend you shake his hand before you leave here, because you'll see it. He is fantastic to work with, and he is doing an unbelievable job of maturing a very young team very quickly. I'll let him get up here and talk a little more. You guys can ask him some questions, but he is a rock star, and he's going to be a fantastic coach for us, Coach Brandon Schneider.
Did you guys see how Dr. Zenger got up on the stage a minute ago? We need to have Hootie test his vertical. Maybe your highest test. That was awesome. You know, it's great to be, I spent 15 years, 80 miles from here in the community of Emporia, Kansas. And it's great to be back in the state. Great to be back in Wichita. In my time there, I coached players from Wichita, Derby, campus, McPherson, Mountain Ridge. So I feel like I have a lot of ties and connections, not only to the state of Kansas, but especially to the Wichita community, and I know how important basketball is, not only here, but in the state. You know, as a coach's kid, my dad coached high school and college basketball for over 45 years in the state of Texas. I've never had a job or earned a paycheck in which it didn't involve the sport of basketball. So for me, as a basketball junkie, to now coach, you know, at the mecca of the sport of college basketball is an incredible privilege and honor. And you know, we're going to really, as a program, fight like hell to represent our fan base and our alumni in the most positive way that we can every single day. Banks alluded to how young we are. When we arrived on campus in late April, there were 6 players that were part of the program. So the first thing we had to address was our numbers issue. We didn't have enough to practice with at that particular time. So we added, I guess now we're up to 15. So we've added 9 players in a short amount of time. 6 of those freshmen, 2 of those from the state of Kansas. Kylie Kirkpatrick is from Olathe South. Right now she's in our starting lineup and is probably one of our top 3 contributors. Tyler Johnson is from Leavenworth, Kansas, and is our first post player off the bench. So we're going to be very, very young. It's going to be quite a learning process and learning curve, I think, that will take place this season. We do have 2 transfers that I think have gotten a lot of publicity that we were able to sign in May and June. One, Mackenzie Calvert, who is from Schertz, Texas, transferred to us from USC. She was a top 15 player in the country out of high school. And then probably, the most popular signing we've had is Jessica Washington, who's out of Tulsa, Jinx High School. She was a McDonald's All-American, one of the top recruits in the country, transferred to us from North Carolina. So we have the caliber of players that we're going to need to eventually compete for a Big 12 championship. We need to continue to add some players like those. But our expectations are really, really high. I've said this numerous times today as I've gotten to meet many of you. As you walk around our athletic department, our facilities, our campus, I just don't see any reason why we can't put a nationally prominent women's basketball program on the court. And I know I'm maybe setting the bar a little too high because I'd like to keep this job as long as I can. But and it's because of you. And it's because of our fan base and the booster support that we get. It's because of what Coach Self has done. I understand that we get lots and lots of things because of what our men's basketball program does. We redid our offices, and I thanked Coach Self immediately for paying for that. But I just think that, give us some time. My target right now is year 3. I really feel like we can make a significant jump in year 2, but in year 3, give us an opportunity to have 2 recruiting classes under our belt, and I think that we're going to be in a position to hopefully compete for Big 12 championships and just be a perennial player in the NCAA tournament. Obviously, I'd ask you to come and watch us play. I think that, I told Dr. Zenger last night after the soccer game, we had over 2,500 fans in our first exhibition game. We had almost 3,000 in our second exhibition game. And on the season, the women's basketball program last year only averaged 2,500. So we've eclipsed attendance marks already in our first 2 exhibition games, and I think a little bit of that has to do with just our style of play. We're going to play up-tempo. We're going to try to get out and pressure people and just create a style that's fun to watch. I think that's really, really important, especially when you're asking people to come and spend their entertainment dollar on women's basketball. If you're ever in town, obviously, please hit me up. I'd love to show you around and give you a tour of, at least for our perspective, all the things that you've helped contribute to the athletic department and the women's basketball program. Any questions I can answer? I was already asking my table, are you any good? Well, we're going to try. Yes, sir. 0. We have no seniors on our roster, and that's good. But I think also, when you're maybe trying to upgrade your talent, I think that can maybe take you a year where you have to kind of cycle through that. So right now in the 2016 class, we may sign just 1 player just because we don't have the scholarship availability. I'm really anxious to hear the questions that you have, Coach Self. I might have a few for myself. With that, hey, I really appreciate it. What an incredible event. and thank you for the opportunity to be here.
I think the last few years they've gotten a bus, I think 3 or 4 different bus trips from Wichita and came up to watch a women's game. So if you guys plan on doing that again this year, you know how to contact our office. We'll get that squared away. The next person I get to introduce, everybody's got their niche. Whatever business you're in, everybody knows it's the hardest thing to do is to stay on top, right? It's impossible. You've got competitors, etc. And to do it for 11 straight years is more than remarkable. I mean, year in and year out, you talk about reloading and coaching, and doing the things that you need to do to be successful. This individual's mastered it. A national championship, 11 straight Big 12 titles. He's got a team this year that won gold. How fun was that to watch a little men's basketball in the summer? That was a good time, buddy. But somebody that I know that our entire department looks up to, your head basketball coach from the University of Kansas and Williams Fund member, Coach Bill Self.
Good afternoon. Thank you to everybody. You know, Banks, being from Wichita, nice guy, relatively attractive man, I guess. I don't know. But what a bragger. Seriously, did you not catch what he said? Senior, associate, AD. You got to be over 30 years old to be a senior in anything. And one thing that you guys may not have caught on when he spoke, I'm excited about Heath. He's got energy and fired up. But he said this freshman class was the highest GPA ever and the second highest ACT ever. And it ticks me off because he did not cite my 3 freshman players for being responsible for all that. That's what I'm sure. So that was a joke. But no, it's good to be in Wichita. It's good to be with friends, especially friends that have played a role in my personal life and my professional development. Everyone at this table right here has played a role, and I'm certainly appreciative to all these people here. And you guys have been so kind to us over the years. We certainly appreciate what you've done, and we even appreciate more what you're going to do moving forward. But it is an exciting time. Sheahon said something that's exactly right. First of all, the story about David, Beatty, and Brandon and myself having lunch. You know, I didn't really take that right because that meant the last 4 years it sucked having lunch with me by myself. And then I also caught something else. I don't know if you guys did. He said, I'm going to tell you a story, and it's a true story. That kind of makes me wonder if all this other shit is true that he's been telling us. At times, too. But hey, we're excited about everything going on. Brandon's right about his young ladies. They're exciting. I mean, I've watched them the first 2 games. The game against Emporia State, you guys may not know what a great win, because I think they're preseason number 1 or number 2 in the country, if I'm not mistaken, in Division II. So that would be a hard game no matter what. And then we're down 13, if I'm not mistaken, early in the game and come back and win by double figures. So that's against the veterans. So that was a great win, and they are much improved. And they play. I wish my guys played as hard as his young ladies. If they did, we'd be hard to deal with. But you know, with our team, we should be better than what we are. We turn it over, don't value the ball, we don't guard anybody. Guys are bored, there's no energy. So basically, you've heard my talk for the last 12 years in a row about my team. But I do think we got a chance to be pretty good. We were awful the other night. But I think that was good because I think we were exposed to what playing cool meant, and it doesn't matter how talented you are. If you play cool, you're going to get your butt, at least beat that possession by an opponent that's athletic and actually cares more. So we were able to bring some things to light with our guys that I think humbled them a little bit. I think hopefully we'll light a fire under them. I really like our team. I really do. If I told you right now that I was happy with them, then that would be the formula for disaster, because if I tell you that, that means I'm probably telling them something similar, and no mistake, niceness for softness, and we can't have that early in the season. I mean, we need to, no matter how good they play, we need to find a lot of fault in everything they do. And so maybe by February, we'll start telling them, hey, you guys, now that you've listened to me, now you guys got a chance to be pretty good. Because this team, I don't know if we have a chance to be special, but from the outside looking in, we got a bunch of really good players. I mean, we got 11 good players. And if Sheahon gets eligible, it'd be 12. I mean, good players, but we don't have a Wiggs and we don't have a Joel. But we got some really good college players. We have a lot of depth, and for the most part, they like each other. And I do think that we're playing selfish for the most part, and I think that we'll sacrifice for each other for the most part. And if we do those things, we'll have a chance to be pretty good. So it'll be a fun year. Our league is voted again. I think they have us preseason in the top 10, which we can all get excited about that. But they also have Iowa State and Oklahoma preseason in the top 10. So that's pretty good. There's no other league in America that's got 3 teams in the top 10. So, well, I tell you, ACC's got Duke, Carolina, and Virginia. So that would be the only other league. But this is going to be a great league. It'll be competitive and certainly fun to follow. I saw a gentleman walking in earlier in a maroon sweater vest with yellow shirt on, and I didn't know Iowa State was an Iowa State function, but that guy right over there, are you a KU guy or what? He looks a little bit like Hoiberg. That could be his dad. No, I'm joking. But if anybody has any questions for me, I'll be sure to answer them. And I'll answer them 100%. I'll tell you the truth. I'm not going to tell you which times I tell you the truth, but I'll tell you the truth. Yes, sir.
Are we going to see a lot of free throw shooting with the new rule?
Yeah. The best offense a team can have, maybe shoot 80% from the line. And I've never been one to practice free throws at all. I mean, we shoot a ton of them during practice, but it's never been a huge emphasis with me. And I know you guys think that's crazy, but it's amazing to me. The best shooting teams always shoot the highest free throw percentage. It's unbelievable that the Lakers were the worst free throw shooting team in the NBA with Shaq playing on it, and the Mavs were the best free throw shooting team when Nowitzki plays on it. Well, the difference between Shaq and Nowitzki is 95 to 45%. That's the difference. But we should be a well above average free throw shooting team. And think about if each team shoots 40, one team makes 32, the other team makes 24. It's going to be hard to overcome that. That's the difference in winning and losing right there. That's a good question. Yeah.
I know you can't talk about names or anything, but could you talk about this process of examining grades?
Yeah. Well,
Process is?
I can visit with you from 30,000 feet from the macro level, as we've been told. That's how they like to view everything. Basically, you have an entity, the NCAA, that has the right to look into certain schools. And when they look into certain schools, they have the authority to put those schools under evaluation. Okay? There's hundreds of schools like this. So any kid that comes through their process now, it's a different process than somebody that just registers from collegiate high school. Because collegiate would not be one of those schools that's under review. So they would take the kids from collegiate and look at it and just check the box. They turned everything in, we're good to go. The other kids they look at, and now it becomes, even though they have the same class from collegiate, same textbook, could be the same syllabus, all this stuff, now you have to prove a step further that the classes that you took were good based on this information that the kids are supposed to say from the 9th grade year. So it's ridiculous is not the right word, because I don't want to put a bad light on the NCAA on something in this situation, because you have to have rules, you have to have bylaws, you have to follow things. But in this particular case, we don't see that any of the things fit to what constitutes being something that was not done correctly. But it's guilty till proven innocent. I mean, just like it is I guess in the court of law. I mean, NCAA has their own way of doing things, and so we have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that these things have happened, and then you get a group of 2 or 3 people in a room that sit in there and they look at it and doesn't have a name on it and all this stuff. And they just say, I don't like this, I don't like that. And if they don't like it, then that's tough. And so that's basically where we're at. So we don't agree that this kid should be evaluated that way remotely. We don't think that it's in the best interest of not only forget about us, we don't matter, but in the best interest of kids to have them just put a blanket over them saying, well, since your school's under review and maybe your school didn't do this one thing, then you're not even worth looking at and evaluating. There's some things that have to change from that perspective. So we're fighting, but they're well aware of our stance, and Sheahon and the staffs, I mean, it's taken too much time. I've been really nice to say, well, it's a process, the process has to play out and everything. Well, the bottom line is, let's just be real, we've known since April that this needed to get handled. The NCAA's had all the information since the middle of the summer on what they need, and now the fact that they need more information, I think, is a little bit frustrating. So it's to the point of frustration, but not to the point of saying they're wrong, we're right. It's one of those deals, okay, you got your bylaws and you got the process that has to play out. I just wish we'd have known this earlier, because we could have got this stuff for you, and this could have been determined 2 months ago easily, at least the way that we look at it. So, yes.
Real World this morning said that Kentucky has more players this year in the NBA than we do. Comment on who stays in touch with you and any stories there, and then you brought up Coach Hoiberg. I hear his daughter's enrolled at Alumni University.
Yes, Paige Hoiberg works in our basketball office. My daughter grew up in Lawrence, and she didn't go to Iowa State, but no. Paige works in our office. What was your first two? Kentucky. Yeah. I think we had 19 on the opening day roster, if I'm not mistaken, which that's pretty good, folks. And 19. The problem that we have is we've got a lot of, and you guys, we're also biased because we all, like when I got to Kansas, I may have been telling John T. this. I can't remember, but I know John Hadel knew this. But when I got to Kansas, our fans and our faithful were so proud of our facilities, but they were the worst. But they're so proud because that's what we know. That's what we know going back in the history. We take history and tradition and all those things and kind of lump them into facilities where a 16, 17-year-old kid they're gonna see, 4 walls and bricks and mortar, and they're not going to wrap that all together and say, well, the combination of everything is what makes our place special. So we've done an unbelievable job, as Shane said, with facilities. Unbelievable. But in the NBA, we got 19 guys in the league, but Paul's the only one that's been an all-star. And you think, well, those guys have that many guys, they should be doing better than that. And that's the biggest crock of bull ever, because we haven't had the same type of players come as freshmen as what Kentucky's had. I mean, if you really look at it, other than Wiggs and Joel, you can maybe say Xavier, maybe. Who would be a guy that came here that you would think in 1 year would definitely be physically mature and ready to be a pro? Compared to Cousins, compared to John Wall, compared to Anthony Dick, compared to some of these guys. So it's so misleading that, because a lot of people throw that at me, but you don't have guys doing as well. No, our guys weren't pros when we got them. Our guys some of them didn't even make All-State in their respective states when we got them. And then they're playing at the highest level. So I'm real proud of the fact that we got 19. Really proud. But we really need Wiggs to do well, and we need Joe to get healthy. Because if Joe gets healthy, that's 2 NBA All-Stars. right there. So that'll change. Wiggs had 31, I think, last night, but that'll change kind of how I think our guys are viewed. Because I think our guys are viewed as not as being as good by some people, when the reality is, you know, when we got Sasha Khan, did you guys positively think when we got Sasha Khan, this guy will be an NBA All-Star? You know, it's unbelievable. But I haven't. I talk to a lot of them. I don't talk to them all the time. We stay in touch through different things, and a lot of times the kids that I talk to the most are the kids that aren't in the league, because the ones in the league, for the most part, have it going pretty good. It's the guys that are just good enough not to be in it. You know, the Tyshons and those type of guys. Those are the guys that probably need the most attention of any of them. I will tell you this. You know, I talked to the Twins not too long ago. This is before they got split, but this is back when they had a little fighting altercation. They got a little national news, and believe it or not, both of them said it wasn't their fault. I can't believe it. They both believe it. So I believe them, because there's no way it could be their fault. They said it wasn't. Does anybody else have anything? I think Brandon is unfortunately for him, it's going to take a year, minimum, for him to be probably back to where he was. Because, I mean, he not only had a torn labrum, he had a microfracture surgery in his hip as well. So that takes time, but he's 90%. But that extra 10% is going to be hard for him to get. So he'll play, but whether or not he can move as well. He has good days, bad days. Wayne has been a little bit of a mystery to me, because he was so athletic this summer, and he's been nicked up by this inside ankle sprain for, you know, and sometimes with ankle sprain you can have a piece of bone chip off and it's got to tack itself back down and all these things. But he hadn't been himself for 6 weeks. He doesn't even look the same to me right now. So, and I know it's health related. So, you know, but it's not bad enough that he needs time off. I mean, he doesn't need time off. It's just, I guess it's just got to run its course. But hopefully those guys in the next couple of weeks will be closer to it. So we need them to be. Yes?
You introduced Darnell Jackson right now.
He's actually playing in China and making good money. And he's got a little baby, and he's engaged to be married, and really doing quite well. I was really proud of him. Of course, you know, he'll have a special place to me always, because you know, nobody at age 20 is supposed to go through the crap that he's been through as a human being. I mean, that was hard, and to see how he responded, and see how all of you took him under his wing, it was pretty special to watch. You know, Thomas got a lot of notoriety and attention through his situation with his mother and his grandparents, and deservedly so. But Darnell was Thomas, you know, way before Thomas. I mean, everything that he went through. I mean, you have 3 family members murdered in 1 year. Then you have a drunk driver cross the center median and hit his grandmother and kill her, and then mom's laid up, so she takes her own life. I mean that's a lot for a young kid to go through, and so he'll always be special to me.
How does the league look this year with Iowa State and Texas becoming coaching?
Well, I think, you know, Iowa State and OU could both go to the Final Four. Texas will be very good. You know, Shaka walked into a great situation. I hated for Rick to leave. I hated for Fred to leave, but they were both replaced by good guys that will do a great job. And but Texas will be good. Baylor will be good too. Our league's going to be really good.
Why did they move the Big 12 SEC challenge to January?
Football.
Oh, okay.
I mean, stop and think about it. So ESPN's got the Big Ten and the ACC challenge and everything, and so you got the bowl season going on. And so in order to get your bang for your buck, you want to do it at a time where there can be some media coverage. And the only time ESPN could do it with all their bowl contracts was in January. And the athletic directors all thought that was great for our league to get a lot of exposure. You know, the coaches don't like it at all, because we're stepping out of what's most important, to play a non-conference game. You know, when you really think about it, I mean, I will not downplay the game, but trust me, I won't play the game at all. Because it's not as important as the next 2 games right after that. But certainly, you know, our guys would be so jacked, would be excited to play that big time. But that's why, so they can play all the games on one day and basically run ESPN game. So it's pretty good. And we'll have game day at our place, I think, unless something weird happens, but there's a good chance game day will be this year.
The rule changes, 40-second clock, games with the qualifier, we foresee this more press.
You know, I can see us using more zone, although I hate to admit it's because I don't know that we can slide well enough to guard. When you stop and think about it, every team's best offense is going to be put your head down right, because you can't touch the kid. So if that's every team's best offense, and then you're not quick enough to really slide, I guess we can just play zone and try to protect guys. So that's to me a terrible way to play. It's a defeatist attitude. But we could play some more zone. Pressing, maybe soft press back to zone, and then, you know, they only got 20 seconds to get a look as opposed to 30. I mean, you can look at it that way, but I don't think it's going to be a huge change. The biggest change is just going to be how tight they call it, not 30 seconds, in my opinion.
Is there one player in particular you're most excited about for the step forward from last year to this year?
I think there's a chance that Perry and Frank could be our two most improved players. So that would be good. If your best players are improved the most, that's actually the best thing. But to me, Hunter Mickelson would be the kid that we didn't see last year that has a chance to impact our program a lot. Take one more that I know I got to get. You guys got to get back to work. Brendan Bashar, well, he is a member for the time being. Unfortunately, we signed one-year contracts, so I could not terminate him after he made the shot. That cost me $10,000. But you know what? I look at it differently. I mean, you know, Brendan made a shot that cost me $10 grand. I had to write to a kid that is paying his own way to school, so it really, really could. But whatever I paid Brendan for running my basketball camp, he didn't get it. I just deducted 10 grand off of it. So it's really not that big a deal to me. Much bigger to him. So, hey, I'll wrap with this, and we appreciate everything that everybody does, and we're getting, this thing has gotten so minimal over the years, and I think Megan and some of the people here working with Megan may have little sacks or whatnot that you can drop some money in if you want to. But each year my team, you know, provides Christmas for those that can't afford it. So basically we'll adopt 20 families, 25 families, depending on how much money we raise. My foundation will match whatever we raise. And so, but hopefully raise enough money through the different events, round ball events, that you know, we can provide a Christmas wish list to all the kids and all the parents in our community that basically are either homeless or don't have, don't have money to buy a Christmas dinner or buy kids gifts or whatnot. Our guys actually go do all the shopping for all the family members, so it's a pretty cool deal. So if you guys feel led, we certainly appreciate your generosity. If you don't, that's no big deal. I just hope you don't come back again next year. Hey, thank you so much. Have a great afternoon.